Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had a wonderful new year. I spent the new year in New York City, unfortunately, although I was not, thank God, at Times Square for New Year's. No way. But I just got back, and I still have not put all my equipment back together, so I'm not going to be on camera for this video. And actually, my tripod broke, so it's getting fixed right now, and I don't really have a way a place to put my camera up anyway, so please bear with me the next couple videos. I may not be on camera for it, but then I promise to get back on camera once we get the tripod piece back that is being fixed right now. I may be able to rig a makeshift setup in the meantime, but so just bear with me. I want to talk about, though, the latest scam from Whitmer from just 2 days ago, her latest ploy to get you to feel sorry for her. Before we get into that real quick, I just want to let everyone know, in case you're new here, my name's Christina. I am working on a documentary on the FBI's Governor Whitmer kidnapping plot case, and it has spanned several years, 4 different trials. There were 14 men that got wrapped up in this hoax. 5 of those men have subsequently been acquitted, 3 of them just recently at this last state trial, and that was a big embarrassment for Whitmer, for the FBI, a major repudiation for them. And the 5 men who were wrongly and falsely convicted and imprisoned are currently appealing those convictions. And Whitmer herself seems to be trying to put her finger on the scale, and she's trying to destroy the appeals before they can go through. She is ultimately the head of the Michigan Department of Corrections because she's the governor. And for the judges that participated in the state trials, you have to question their ability to even be fair, because she's technically their boss. She's the governor of their state, and she gave these highly prejudicial 3-minute long quote unquote victim impact statements for this, and she was never actually in danger. Her team was kept apprised of the investigation by the FBI the whole way through there. Moreover, the FBI is the only people that were plotting anything here, and that has all come out. That's well documented through discovery. So let me talk about the latest scam and why I think they're doing this now. First of all, let's note that Whitmer is very clearly has delusions of grandeur, and she is seemingly being groomed for higher office, being set up for higher office. We know that the geriatric resident is not going to be an option for them, so it seems like they're trying to bolster her as, you know, a stand-in for a Hillary Clinton type figure. And they try to lionize her, make her look like she's a victim. You should feel sorry for her, and that she's like embattled or something. No, these are very powerful people. She has private security, 24/7 private security detail. Most of those people on her security team, like, they're former law enforcement. So she also had federal, state, and local law enforcement this whole time. So the idea that she was scared is not a thing. Same with her husband. He was actually at the vacation cottage when the FBI planned and scheduled the August 28, 2020 daytime recon. So we know from discovery that the FBI had installed multiple poll cams on her property, and they were even directing the agents of how to drive the vehicle so that they would get caught on the poll cam. They were talking about what men to invite and tricking them to go on. They didn't know where they were going. And the FBI was caught at this last trial altering a timestamp to try to make it look like Eric Molitor knew where they were going prior to getting in the vehicle that the FBI was driving. You could not make this up if you wanted to. So she needs to apologize. But I think that everybody, the exposure of the Fednapping hoax has put pressure on her in the FBI to say something, to not only publicly apologize to these men and their families, but frankly, to resign from public office forever. But this is the scam. So this was just 2 days ago. Michigan's first gentleman says he retired from dental practice early due to threats at time of kidnap trial. Now, it's interesting because, well, I can prove that this is a lie, and I'll show you. So stick with me through this video, please, till the end, and you'll see what I mean. Let's start, though.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer and husband, First Gentleman Dr. Marc Mallory, have their professional relationship worked out just fine, thank you very much. And it's pretty simple. The governor stays in her political lane, and he stays out of her lane.
Right.
And tends to his own retirement from behind the dental chair in Lansing. And the two of them are just fine with that. So needless to say, the good doctor doesn't do a lot of TV interviews. In fact, he's done only 5 in 5 years, with all of them right here on this Michigan public TV broadcast from the executive residence.
Yeah, so when he wants to do interviews, he doesn't even have to leave the governor's mansion. They come to him. They're public access. It's just, guys, don't feel bad for these people.
This is the highlight of your year.
This is
right?
it.
Calling
This is
him
the
a
highlight
doctor.
right now.
He's a
Governor,
dentist.
am I to believe that?
No.
Not even close.
He's stressed, yeah.
The real highlight of his year, however, was watching his son graduate from dental school and watching the governor's daughter graduate from college.
Oh, they're
However,
so
the loss
relatable. They're just like you. Oh, how wholesome. The highlight of it. Please. What they're doing here is they're trying to garner sympathy
of his father
and appear
was just the
relatable
opposite.
and normal.
Unfortunately, my dad passed this year, and so, but I'll say this, he lived to be 91. He was a great guy, tons of people loved him.
Dr.
How many people's family members, parents, grandparents, spouses passed away because of her COVID policies? How many of them died alone in nursing homes? Are you serious, sir? How dare you?
Mallory's mother is still alive, and he reports she got her law degree after the kids were out of the nest, something that he shares in common with his wife.
Our mothers had parallel.
Both went to law
legal.
school after having kids.
Both mothers were fiercely independent and led the way for other women to follow. Well, the governor and first gentleman have stayed in their own.
Yeah, fiercely independent. And can we look at the body language here? Can we just analyze that for a second? We all know who wears the pants in this relationship, and it is not Marc Mallory.
Own lanes. The two careers did collide recently with that plot to kidnap the governor. When that was exposed, Dr. Mallory's dental practice soon became a target of threats.
Oh, please.
Which moved him to retire early, really early.
We were getting kind of crank calls and stuff, and I don't know,
You were getting crank calls and stuff with your FBI, state, local law enforcement, your private security detail. Oh, you got crank calls. You want to know what the families went through after you took the men out of their homes and disarmed all of them and put their addresses out there publicly, encouraging people to come to their driveways, to drive up and down the streets menacingly, scaring the women. You took Pete Musico and Joe Morrison away from their wives and their children. You took all of the men out of their home and left those 2 women alone with their kids, disarmed, with no ability to defend themselves. And they didn't have the luxury of having a 24-hour private security detail coordinating with state, local, and federal law enforcement. Oh, but you got some crank calls. You didn't have people trying to cross the lake to get to your house. Strange men in the middle of the night, like these people did. And they don't have a big public platform. They don't get to live at the governor's mansion with all of this security and attention and a big public platform. Nobody cared about them. No one was there to protect them. You know what the police said? Oh, nothing will happen. And if they do, just give us a call. They didn't give them any armed security. No.
it was one extra layer I didn't want to deal with.
He was worried that maybe a patient would get hurt or his staff, and so he moved up the date. He was going to work for another 7 to 8 years and decided to retire.
Speaking of retiring, while thousands of folks whooped it up on New Year's Eve, the first couple took a different approach.
So what do you got planned for New Year's?
Very little. We'll celebrate the new year at about 9 p.m. and go to bed.
Oh, she's got his bedtime picked out for him. She schedules his entire day. You get to celebrate New Year's at 9 p.m. and then you're going to bed, bucko, right at midnight. Like, yes, honey, time for my daily de-stomping. Oh, how nice. But let me prove to you that this is a lie. That this entire thing, this interview they just did, was a lie, and it's designed to garner sympathy. Let's play an interview from a year ago where he was blaming something else for why he was quote unquote retiring early.
We all have a good 2022.
Okay, so my God, she's once again dominating him in this, she's dominating him in the interview, as she always does.
On December 22nd, they did not anticipate. Over the holidays, Dr. Marc Mallory tested positive for the virus. Even before that, COVID was a part of his decision to retire 5 years earlier than anticipated.
This pandemic has taken a toll, and I think a lot of people, frankly, have done the calculation about the kind of work they want to do or whether or not they want to continue, especially if they're close to retirement.
Wow. So, did you see that? It was almost the same interview, but now they're just changing the reasons for why he was retiring early. And again, look at the body language. She has her hand on his leg. That is a masculine behavior. Usually the man puts his hand on the woman's thigh, not the other way around. That is strange behavior, is it not?
After 3 decades as a dentist, he reports he was ready to move on.
Oh, he was ready to move on. I thought he wasn't planning to. He didn't want to. It was just these extremists and their threats. No, this is a lie. And frankly, it's insulting to the families who were actually disarmed and actually received threats and had their men taken from them. And speaking of those men, we're going to talk about Paul Beller, and we're going to show real pictures of him, who he really is, not the caricature they want you to believe he is, that they made him out to be, and the mugshot. This is who he really is. You know, he's with animals in almost every picture here. And look how sweet. You know, you can see that he's a gentle person. So let me tell you more about Paul. This is Paul Beller. He recently turned 25 in federal prison for the FBI's Governor Whitmer kidnap plot hoax. He was just a baby at 21 years old when he first got arrested for this hoax case. Paul volunteered with the fire department through his teenage years. So this is, as a teenager, how many other teenagers do you know that are volunteering with the fire department? He did well in the U.S. Army until his injuries made continuing too difficult. Now he is a state prisoner in federal prison. Paul was charged with, quote, providing material support, gang affiliation, and felony firearms because he taught somebody how to tie a tourniquet at an FBI-sponsored event. Paul was an original member of the Watchmen when the FBI took over the group. He did attend a Vac Shack meeting. Remember that Adam Fox was homeless at the time this all happened. He was living in the basement of a dilapidated vacuum repair shop. And so they had a little Vac Shack meeting. This is when the FBI's main informant, Big Dan, became the leader of the group. And Discovery shows that Paul, outside the Vac Shack meeting, when Dan and Paul left, Paul tells Dan, Adam sounds crazy. He said, that guy's crazy. Because Adam was talking crazy. And what he was doing was just repeating the things that multiple FBI informants and an undercover agent himself were all telling Adam to say, and pressuring him and putting those ideas in his head, you know. And we'll get into the notion of predisposition later, because philosophically speaking, I don't think it's a thing. On July 7, 2020, Paul Beller says, again at one of these meetings, quote, we're not going to be black bagging politicians out of their cars, getting arrest warrants and arresting them. We're not dealing with that. To the FBI informants after a solid month of them trying to push for goals, plans, and objectives. And this is just 4 days before the FBI-sponsored Cambria FTX that was put on by informant Steve Robeson's friend at his private property that Robeson organized and arranged. On July 18, 2020, at the quote, Peebles meeting, unquote, the FBI, that's in Ohio, the FBI has 4 informants all there trying to provoke criminal behavior. Let me just read some of the quotes that these informants were saying at the Peebles meeting, July 18th. CHS, that's confidential human source, that means FBI informant, Knight III, says at Peebles, quote, I have an announcement for a moment. The Ohio State House, BLM, Black Panthers, and Antifa are all now being surrounded by the state police as well as the local Capitol Police in full riot gear. They have come armed and they are there threatening the Patriot rally. They have surrounded them because that's what the permit allows, so they are being held at gunpoint. So what he was trying to tell these people was there was a Patriot rally that was happening, and he was trying to convince all of these guys that multiple left-wing agitator groups were basically holding this group of patriots at gunpoint. So trying to insinuate, like, oh, we've got to go help them, right? We need to go do something. Like, that's what the FBI was trying to make happen. And could you imagine the pedo informant Robeson then says, quote, and this right here is why the F I'm telling you it's being allowed by DeWine here. Effing shit face, wit face, or whatever her name is, he knew exactly what her name was, and he knew exactly why the FBI wanted him to mention it. Blackface there, that was Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia. So you've got DeWine, the Ohio governor, Whitmer, the Michigan governor, Ralph Northam, the Virginia governor. I am telling you guys, they wanted it to be a 15-state plot, okay? Targeting multiple governors, but they couldn't get it off the ground. But you see the informant here mentioning it. Not these men coming up with this. This is the FBI. He says, why are we not returning the same measure that we are being given? Why are we giving quarter when no quarter is being given? MFers are going to throw SHIT at us. Why aren't we throwing it back? Why are we not... this is why I'm saying I agree with you 100%. This has to happen. This has to happen, because if not, this SHIT right here is going to continue to kill us in our backyards. So he is trying to rile people up. And you have to remember the tone of how he's saying this too. This is a man who's passionately speaking to a group of people and trying to rile them up, get them excited, get them agitated. He's telling them, why are you giving quarter when no quarter is given? We have to do this or they're going to slaughter us in our backyards. So he is fear-mongering, agitating, provoking. This shows the desperation, the frustration, and failure to effectively build the FBI's TEI, or their terrorism enterprise investigation, which, remember, they wanted to be a 15-state thing. Paul left the group in July of 2020. He even moved out of state to South Carolina, but they still rolled him up for this and arrested him anyways. Paul's being prevented right now from communicating with his appeals lawyer. His appeals brief is due in February. That is just 1 month away. And this entire time, he's been denied access to a Michigan law library. Asking people to please pray for Paul and his family. Please share this post if you can. It's up on my Twitter, and share this video. It's very, very important that people understand what's happening and learn the truth. And so that's it. That's all I have for today. And I hope everyone has a good day. Also, don't just pray for Paul, pray for Pete Musico, Joe Morrison, Adam Fox, Barry Croft, and Paul Bellar, all 5 of them, that all 5 of those appeals go through, because she moved those guys from state prisons in Michigan. She moved them to federal BOP facilities in different states. Pete is in West Virginia. Paul is in Pennsylvania. Joe Morrison is in Illinois. They have no access to law libraries. They don't have access to their transcripts. They're not able to talk to their appeals lawyers, but their appeals are due in 1 month. She is derailing their appeals on purpose, but she wants you to feel sorry for her? I don't think so. All right, please share this. Please like the video, comment. All of that stuff helps, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Whee!